presented by Soundlibra.com. Explore more titles via the link in the description or at Soundlibra.com. We're glad you're here for Essentialism for Parents. Are you juggling too much?
Before we dive in, just a quick note. This series discusses parenting and wellness, but it isn't a substitute for professional medical or mental health advice. Please consult a professional for your specific situation. Now back to our topic. It feels like we're often running full speed, but not really getting anywhere truly meaningful, doesn't it? Today, we're introducing a different way. Doing less, but better.
Exactly. This first episode is about carving out your oasis, a space of calm and clarity amidst the everyday chaos of parenting. We want to help you focus on what truly matters.
And the idea of doing less might bring up feelings of guilt. Are we being lazy? Are we not doing enough for our kids? I want to assure everyone this isn't about neglect. It's about being more intentional and impactful.
Precisely. This isn't about cutting corners. It's about being an essentialist parent. Essentialism means a disciplined pursuit of less, but better. We identify the few things that make the biggest difference and focus our energy there.
So, instead of spreading ourselves thin across countless activities and expectations, we can deepen our engagement where it counts most. This helps our children and ourselves. Is that right?
That's absolutely right. We're bombarded with what we should do. Every possible activity, every educational trend. The pressure to be a perfect parent is exhausting and, frankly, impossible. We often get caught up in the non-essential.
Why is this essentialism approach so important for parents today? What's the biggest problem you see?
The biggest problem is parental overwhelm. Modern life offers endless choices and distractions. We have so many opportunities for our kids and so many expectations for ourselves as parents. This leads to shallow connections instead of deep, meaningful ones.
So, we're paddling in the shallows instead of taking a refreshing swim. That can leave everyone feeling a bit empty, even when everyone is busy.
Exactly. Essentialism offers a way to fix this. By focusing on the vital few things, the activities, values, and interactions that truly matter, we can reclaim our time, energy, and joy. We can move from reacting to everything to actively shaping our family life.
That sounds wonderful. But how do we overcome that initial guilt when we start saying no to things?
That's the key challenge, and it's a journey. Essentialism isn't about being lazy. It's about making conscious choices. Our time and energy are limited, so we need to invest them wisely. Think of it like investing money. You don't invest everywhere. You pick the best opportunities for the best returns.
That makes sense. So, we need to pause and ask ourselves if an activity truly aligns with our family's core values. Does it genuinely benefit our child or our family?
Yes, and in the coming episodes, we'll show you exactly how to do that. We'll start by defining your core family values, your why. Knowing what's most important makes it much easier to choose what to let go.
So, the next episode is about defining our why. That's a great starting point. What follows that?
After understanding our values, we'll explore the power of saying no. This is crucial for protecting our focus. We'll also look at how to reimagine family time, shifting from quantity to quality.
Less time, but more meaningful connection. I can already feel a sense of relief.
And we're just getting started. We'll discuss building essential routines that actually free up your mental space and embracing unstructured play, which is so important for creativity.
Kids really need that downtime.
And then we'll tackle simplifying schedules and setting important digital boundaries. That one will be huge for many families.
It's a major challenge. We'll also confront parenting guilt, explore essentialism in action when life throws curveballs, and see how this approach benefits your own well-being.
It sounds like a comprehensive path from feeling overwhelmed to living with greater intention. This series promises practical tools to consciously choose how we parent, leading to stronger connections and more joy.
That is the goal. We're striving for a family life where everyone feels more connected and less stressed. It's about doing less parenting, but doing it much better. We're helping you create your Essentialist Parents Oasis.
So, to recap our first episode, the Overwhelmed Parents Oasis, we've introduced essentialism for parents. We've acknowledged the common feeling of overwhelm from doing too much, and we've highlighted that doing less, but better, means focusing on what truly matters for deeper impact and connection.
And you've heard a sneak peek of our roadmap, defining your why, learning to say no, prioritizing quality time, and much more. It's all about cutting through the noise to find what's truly essential.
Are you ready to start building your oasis?
Thanks for listening. Next episode, defining your why, core family values. Welcome back to Essentialism for Parents. Last time, we talked about creating an oasis of calm. Now, let's uncover your core family values.
That's right, Alex. In episode 1, we set the stage for doing less parenting, but better. And the why behind our choices is crucial for that. It's like having a compass. If you don't know where you're going, any path will do, and that usually leads to exhaustion.
Exactly. So what are core family values? Think of them as the guiding principles, the non-negotiables that define what truly matters to your family. They're not about keeping up with the Joneses or following the latest parenting trend. They're about what you want your family culture to be and what you want your children to embody.
And I imagine for parents, this process can feel a bit daunting. We're busy. We're tired. How do we even start thinking about something so foundational when we're just trying to get dinner on the table?
That's a very relatable feeling, Lisa. The key is to approach this with intention, not as another chore. You can carve out little moments. Maybe it's a quiet evening reflection or a family dinner conversation starter. The goal today is to equip listeners with the understanding and a pathway to uncover these values. First, let's consider why this is so important. When you have clear family values, decision-making becomes so much easier.
So, instead of debating whether your child should join another extracurricular activity, you can ask, does this activity align with our family value of prioritizing rest, or connection, or creativity?
Precisely. It shifts the focus from reactive choices to proactive alignment. It helps you say yes to what truly serves your family and, crucially, no to the things that don't. This is the essence of essentialism in action, focusing your energy and resources on what matters most.
Okay, so how do we actually find these values? What does that look like practically?
Great question. We can start by reflecting on a few key areas. First, think about the kind of people you want your children to become. What character traits do you most admire and want to cultivate in them? Is it kindness, resilience, curiosity, honesty?
So, it's about identifying the future adults we're helping to shape. That makes sense. What else?
Next, consider your family's experiences. What moments have brought your family the most joy, the most connection, the most pride? What activities or rituals make you feel like a strong, cohesive unit? Often, those fulfilling experiences point towards underlying values.
I'm picturing those silly game nights that end in laughter, or maybe a particular family trip where everyone felt truly present. Those moments often feel special for a reason, and that reason is likely tied to a value.
Exactly. And one more area, think about what you want your family to stand for in the world. What impact do you hope to have, however small? This could be about community involvement, about environmental consciousness, or simply about being a supportive and loving presence for each other.
So, to recap these reflection points, we're looking at the character traits we want to instill, the experiences that bring us joy and connection, and the impact we want to make. Alex, can you give us some examples of common core family values?
Absolutely. Some families might prioritize connection, meaning deep, meaningful relationships, and quality time together. Growth, a commitment to learning, curiosity, and personal development for everyone. Kindness, emphasizing empathy, compassion, and helpfulness towards others. Integrity, upholding honesty, responsibility, and strong moral principles. Adventure, a love for exploring, trying new things, and embracing challenges. These are just examples, of course. Your family's values will be unique.
And how do we involve our children in this process? It feels like something parents often define for the family.
That's a powerful question. Involving children is essential for buy-in and for them to truly live these values. For younger children, you can introduce concepts through stories and simple questions. For example, after reading a book about sharing, you could ask, "Does that remind you of how we try to be a helpful family?" With older children, you can have more direct conversations.
So, you're not just telling them what the values are, you're helping them discover and internalize them.
Exactly. You could even have a family session where everyone brainstorms words that describe what's important to them. Then, you could try to find common themes and group them. It's a collaborative effort, and the process itself can be a valuable bonding experience. It teaches them about self-reflection and community.
I love that. So, once we've identified these core values, say connection, kindness, and curiosity, what's the next step?
The next step is to intentionally weave them into your family life. This means looking at your choices through the lens of these values. Does selecting that demanding after-school activity truly serve our value of connection? Or is it pulling us apart? Does our evening routine allow for curiosity and learning? Or is it just a rush to the finish line?
It's about making those values visible and actionable. Not just words on a wall, but living principles.
Precisely. And when challenges arise, and they will, these values become your anchor. When your child is struggling with a peer, you can talk about kindness and empathy. When there's a temptation to overschedule, you can refer back to your commitment to connection. These values provide a stable reference point in the often muddied waters of parenting.
This feels like the antidote to that parenting by default mode we can easily fall into. It's about intentionality.
Absolutely. And remember, your values can evolve over time, especially as your children grow. It's not a static decree. Regular check-ins, perhaps annually, can be beneficial to ensure your values still resonate with where your family is and where you're heading.
So, to summarize, defining our core family values is about understanding what truly matters to us as a unit. We can discover these by reflecting on the kind of people we want our children to be, the experiences that bring us joy and connection, and the impact we want to have. We can then involve our children in this process to foster authenticity and buy-in.
And the payoff? Easier decision-making, more intentional living, and a stronger, more unified family culture. These values act as our compass, guiding us to do less but better.
This is such a powerful foundation for essentialism in parenting. It truly sets the stage for everything else we'll discuss.
It does. And next time, we'll explore how this clarity of why empowers us to master the art of saying no, protecting our focus and our precious family time. We'll be talking about the power of no. Next episode, the power of no, protecting your parenting focus. Welcome back. Last time, we explored how to define your why by identifying your core family values.
Absolutely, Alex. Knowing our core values acts like a compass, guiding our decisions. But as we start applying these values, a big challenge pops up. We often find ourselves saying yes to almost everything, even when it stretches us thin.
That's exactly it, Lisa. We're going to dive into one of the most powerful, yet often difficult, essentialist tools today, the power of no. This is episode 3 of Essentialism for Parents, where we're tackling the power of no, protecting your parenting focus.
The power of no. It sounds so simple, but for many parents, it feels incredibly hard. I know I've felt that pressure, that fear of missing out or FOMO, that makes us overcommit.
You've hit the nail on the head. That FOMO is a huge driver. We see other parents signing up for every activity, piling on playdates, and we worry our kids will be left out if we don't do the same. We also want to be the good parent, the one who is always available and says yes to every opportunity.
And sometimes it's not even about our kids. It's about our own desire to be liked, to be seen as flexible, or to avoid disappointing others. But then we end up spread too thin, feeling stressed, and honestly, the quality of our yes suffers.
Precisely. The core idea here is that saying yes to something non-essential means you are automatically saying no to something else that might be more important. And often, those things you're saying no to are the truly essential ones. Quality time with your children, rest, or connection with your partner.
So, the goal isn't to be a no person, but to be a discerning yes person. We need to be strategic about where we invest our time and energy.
Exactly. Think of it like this. Imagine your family's time and energy are a precious resource, like gold. Every yes you give is like spending a piece of that gold. If you spend it carelessly on things that aren't truly valuable, you won't have enough left for the things that truly matter.
That's a great analogy. So, how do we actually start saying no more effectively without feeling like a bad parent or creating unnecessary friction?
It starts with awareness. First, we need to be clear about our core family values, which we discussed last time. When a request comes in, ask yourself, does this align with our values? Does it serve our family's true priorities?
So, if one of our core values is meaningful family connection, and someone asks us to commit to a weekly activity that pulls us away from family dinner time every single week, that's a clear signal it might not be a good yes.
Spot on. The next step is to practice saying no politely but firmly. Often, we feel the need to over-explain or apologize. But a simple, direct, and polite refusal is usually most effective.
Can you give us some examples? I think a few practical scripts would be incredibly helpful.
Of course, for a non-essential request, you could say, "Thank you so much for thinking of us. That sounds like a wonderful opportunity, but unfortunately, we won't be able to commit to that right now." Notice how it's appreciative, acknowledges the request positively, and then clearly states the inability to commit.
I like that. It's kind, but it doesn't leave the door open for them to push. What if it's a more persistent request, or from someone we care about?
You can adapt it. For example, "I really appreciate the invitation, and I'm sorry, but our schedule is already quite full with commitments that are a high priority for us right now. We need to protect that time." This reinforces that your no is about preserving something important, not about rejecting them.
That makes sense. It frames it as a positive act of protection rather than a negative rejection. It also helps people understand that you have boundaries without them feeling personally attacked.
Exactly. And remember, we don't always have to say no immediately. Sometimes, a phrase like, "Let me check our family's commitments and get back to you," gives you time to assess the request against your values and priorities without the pressure of an instant decision.
That's a brilliant buffer. It allows us to be thoughtful rather than reactive. So, we've talked about saying no to commitments and requests. What about unsolicited advice or well-meaning suggestions from others?
That's another significant area where we often struggle to say no. Parents get bombarded with advice on everything from sleep schedules to nutrition to parenting styles. And so much of it isn't aligned with our family's values or what we feel is best.
Yes, and it can be so undermining. You think you're doing a good job, and then someone suggests you're doing it all wrong.
Indeed, for unsolicited advice, a polite deflection often works. You could say, "Thanks for sharing that. We're actually working with an approach that feels right for our family, but I appreciate your input." Or, "That's an interesting perspective. We found success with X, but I'll keep your suggestion in mind."
It acknowledges them without validating the advice or implying you'll follow it. It's a subtle way of drawing a boundary.
It is. And over time, as you consistently and politely hold your boundaries, people tend to stop offering advice that you don't ask for. They learn your boundaries.
This skill of saying no is so interconnected with so many other parenting challenges, isn't it? It's the gatekeeper to our time and energy.
Absolutely. This skill of saying no to good opportunities is what frees you up to say yes to the essential ones. It's about mindful allocation of your most valuable resources. It's not about deprivation, but about intentionality.
So, to recap, first, be crystal clear on your family's core values. That's your filter. Second, practice polite but firm no statements for requests and commitments. Use phrases that acknowledge the other person but clearly state your inability to participate. Third, use a pause to assess if needed. And fourth, politely deflect unsolicited advice without over-explaining.
Excellent summary, Lisa. Mastering the art of saying no is fundamental to essentialism. It protects your focus, reduces overwhelm, and ultimately allows you to parent with more intention and presence.
And this is going to be so important as we move into future episodes, especially when we talk about simplifying our schedules and our time. We need to make space for those yes that truly matter.
Precisely. Learning to say no to the good is the only way to make room for the great.
That's a powerful thought to end on. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, Lisa. Next episode, we'll be diving into episode 4, Quality Over Quantity, Reimagining Family Time. Welcome back to Essentialism for Parents. Last time, we dove deep into the power of saying no to protect our focus. Now, let's tackle a topic that often causes many parents to feel overwhelmed: reimagining family time, shifting our focus from simply the quantity of time spent with our children to the quality of those moments.
That's right, Alex. So many of us feel this pressure, this guilt, that if we're not constantly physically present with our kids, we're somehow falling short. We think more hours equals better parenting. But this episode is all about challenging that idea and showing how intentionally focused, high-quality interactions can be incredibly powerful, even if they're shorter.
Absolutely. Let's start by addressing the myth head-on. The idea that more time spent always equates to better connection or better parenting. Think about it. Have you ever been in the same room as your kids, but you're both on separate devices, or you're distracted by a million other thoughts? Is that truly quality time?
Definitely not. It feels more like parallel living than connected family time. My kids will tell me they're bored, and I might say, well, I'm right here, but I'm actually scrolling through emails or thinking about dinner. They aren't feeling my presence in a meaningful way.
Exactly. And that's where the essentialist mindset comes in. Instead of aiming for endless hours, we aim for truly engaged, present moments. This means being intentional about what we do during that time. We need to shift our definition of family time from mere duration to depth of connection.
So, how do we actually do that? Because for busy parents, finding those truly unplugged, engaged moments can feel like a huge challenge. Where do we even begin to carve out that quality time?
Great question. The first step is awareness. Notice when you're physically present but mentally absent. Try to identify those windows of opportunity. It might be during meal times, or that 15 minutes before bedtime, or even a short car ride. The key is to be fully present during these times. Put away your phone, turn off the TV, and actively engage with your children.
So, it's about maximizing those smaller pockets of time. Instead of thinking, I need a whole Saturday afternoon, I can focus on making sure our dinner conversation is meaningful or that our bedtime story is a shared experience.
Precisely. And it's not about grand gestures or elaborate activities. Often, the most impactful moments are the simplest. It could be a quick chat about their day, a spontaneous dance party in the living room, or reading a book together. These are moments that build connection and create lasting memories, far more than hours of passive togetherness.
I love that. It lowers the pressure. It's not about needing a perfect outing every time. It's about making the everyday moments count. Tell me, Alex, what are some practical ways parents can inject more quality into these everyday interactions?
One easy way is to practice active listening. When your child is talking to you, really listen. Make eye contact, nod, ask follow-up questions. It shows them that you value what they have to say, and it deepens your understanding of them. Remember how we talked about prioritizing? This is prioritizing your child's voice and their experiences.
That's a good connection back to our previous episodes. Active listening is a way of saying, you are important, and what you're sharing with me matters. So, even if it's just a 5-minute conversation, it's a high-quality 5 minutes.
Exactly. Another tip is to create shared rituals. These can be small things. Maybe it's making pancakes together on a Saturday morning, or a specific way you say goodbye in the morning, or a high-five routine. These rituals create a sense of belonging and predictability, and they become cherished moments of connection.
Shared rituals sound wonderful. They're like little anchors that tell your kids, this is our special thing, and it happens with you. It doesn't require a huge time commitment, but it builds a strong sense of family identity.
And don't underestimate the power of focused play. Even just 10 minutes of playing with your child, fully immersed in their world, can be incredibly rejuvenating for both of you. Let them lead the play. It's an opportunity to see the world through their eyes and connect on their level.
That's a powerful reminder. We often assume we need to entertain them or structure their fun. But sometimes just joining them in whatever they're already doing with genuine interest is the most connecting thing we can do. It's about being a participant, not just an overseer.
Indeed. Now, let's talk about something that often gets in the way of quality time: screens. We've all been there, right? The kids are on their tablets, and we're on our phones, and the potential for connection just evaporates.
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy to let technology become a barrier. We might think it's keeping them occupied, but it's often keeping us disconnected from each other.
So, a crucial part of prioritizing quality over quantity is implementing intentional digital boundaries. This means setting clear times when devices are put away, especially during meals and in the hour before bed. It's about creating screen-free zones and screen-free times for the whole family.
That makes sense. It's not just about limiting their screen time, but about creating a shared space where we can all be more present with each other. It's creating opportunities for those conversations and shared activities that help us feel truly connected.
Think of it like this. If you have a limited amount of precious time, you want to spend it in ways that are truly meaningful and nourishing, not just filling a void. Quality family time is about making those moments count, creating a strong emotional bond, and fostering a sense of security and belonging for your children.
So, to recap for our listeners, the key takeaway today is to shift our focus from the amount of time we spend with our children to the quality of that time. This means being fully present, actively listening, creating simple shared rituals, engaging in focused play, and establishing healthy digital boundaries. It's about making the everyday moments matter and truly connecting with our kids.
Well said, Lisa. And as we transition into our next few episodes, you'll see how this principle of quality over quantity directly intertwines with simplifying our family routines. When our routines are streamlined, we naturally create more space for these intentional, high-quality family moments.
That sounds like a natural and very welcome progression. I'm looking forward to it.
Next episode, we'll be exploring the art of the essential routine. Welcome back. Last time, we explored how to find the quality in your family time. Today, we're talking about creating a calmer, more focused family life with essential routines.
And that's so crucial, Alex. Routines are the bedrock. They make quality time happen consistently and reduce daily chaos.
Exactly, Lisa. Unpredictable days lead to scrambled mornings and bedtime battles. Routines bring order. They offer a predictable rhythm that benefits everyone, especially our kids, by providing security.
So, for anyone feeling overwhelmed, this episode is for you. We're identifying non negotiable patterns that create stability and simplicity, streamlining what you already do.
Precisely. Essentialism in family life means doing less, but better. We're not aiming for rigid schedules, but for key, consistent rhythms that anchor your family and free up mental energy. We want routines that are simple, flexible, and genuinely supportive.
That word flexible is key. Life happens. Kids get sick. Work emergencies pop up. How do we start identifying these essential routines?
First, look at your natural anchor points. What are the moments that happen every day? I'm thinking about waking up, meal times, and going to bed. These are your fundamental building blocks.
Okay, so morning, meals, and bedtime. Those are universal. But those are often the most chaotic times. How do we make them essential rather than stressful?
We simplify. For mornings, focus on 2 or 3 non-negotiables. Maybe it's wake up, get dressed, eat breakfast. That's it. The goal is to get everyone started feeling relatively calm.
So, instead of a full educational program before school, we focus on the basics of getting ready and fueled. And for meals?
For meals, it's about a consistent time and, if possible, a consistent way of eating together. This doesn't mean gourmet feasts. It means sitting down at the table and having a simple, healthy meal. Focus on the ritual of gathering and nourishment.
And bedtime? This is often the big one.
Bedtime routines can be magical when they're simple and consistent. Think about a predictable sequence: pajamas, brush teeth, read a story, lights out. Notice how it's a few clear steps. This predictability is incredibly comforting for children and provides a valuable transition for older kids. The essential goal is adequate rest and a peaceful process.
So, the key is to identify these anchor points and define the absolute minimum set of actions needed to move through them smoothly, stripping away non-essentials.
Exactly. And remember, these routines aren't set in stone. They can and should evolve. The beauty of an essential routine is its adaptability. If something isn't working, you reassess and adjust.
That's a great point, Alex. We're not creating new stress. We're creating a supportive structure. So, what are some of the benefits of these essential routines?
The benefits are profound. First, it significantly reduces decision fatigue for parents. When you know what comes next, you're not constantly figuring it out. This frees up mental bandwidth. Second, it fosters independence in children. When kids know the steps, they can start doing them themselves.
Oh, that's so true. My kids are starting to remember the bedtime routine, and it's amazing how that lightens my load.
And that's the magic. It builds their self-efficacy. Third, and this ties back to our last episode, essential routines create space for quality time. By making basic tasks efficient, you reclaim minutes that can be dedicated to connection. A calm dinner table can become a place for conversation.
So, to recap, identify your natural anchor points, morning, meals, and bedtime. Then, define the absolute essential steps for each, aiming for simplicity and consistency. Remember that flexibility is key, and the goal is to reduce stress, build independence, and create space for connection.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. These essential routines don't need to be complicated. They just need to be consistent and supportive. They're the quiet hum of your family life, providing a predictable and calming backdrop.
And the best part is, once you have these core routines established, they become the foundation for other wonderful aspects of family life, like the unstructured play we'll be exploring next. These rhythms make space for spontaneity.
They absolutely do. So experiment with this. Start small. Pick one anchor point and simplify its routine this week. The art of the essential routine is about creating a calmer, more intentional family experience.
Definitely. It's about making those everyday moments work for you, building that predictable flow.
Next episode, we'll explore how to embrace the magic of unstructured play, building on the stability these essential routines provide. Welcome back to Essentialism for Parents. Do less parenting better. Last time, we dove deep into the art of the essential routine, creating predictable anchors in our busy lives.
That was so helpful, Alex. Having those routines in place has made a noticeable difference in our household. But today, we're flipping the script a bit, aren't we? We're talking about something that might seem like the opposite of structure, but is actually just as vital for our children's development.
Exactly, Lisa. Today, in episode 6, we're embracing the magic of unstructured play. This is where we as parents intentionally step back and allow our children the freedom to simply be, to explore, and to create without our constant guidance. It's about carving out intentional space for what looks like nothing to happen, but is actually everything for a child's growth.
Unstructured play. It sounds so simple, almost too simple. When we're so focused on schedules, enrichment activities, and making sure our kids are learning something tangible, it can feel a little counterintuitive to just let them play freely.
I hear you. It's so easy to fall into the trap of thinking that every moment needs to be optimized, that every activity needs a clear educational objective. But science and developmental psychology tell us that unstructured play is, in fact, one of the most powerful learning tools a child possesses. It's the foundation for so much crucial development.
So, when we say unstructured play, what are we really talking about? It's not just letting them sit in front of a screen, right?
Absolutely not. Unstructured play is child-led. It's when a child decides what they want to do, how they want to do it, and for how long. It could be building a fort out of blankets, drawing with crayons without a specific prompt, playing pretend with toys, or just wandering around the backyard exploring. The key is that the child is the director of their own imaginative world.
And why is this so important? What's happening in their brains and emotional lives when they're engaged in this type of play?
So many incredible things. Firstly, it's the birthplace of creativity and imagination. When children aren't being told what to do, they have to invent their own scenarios, their own characters, their own solutions to imagine problems. This is how they learn to think outside the box. Picture a child with a box. It could be a car, a spaceship, a treasure chest, a house. Their imagination is boundless.
That's a great way to put it. The box is just a box, but their mind makes it so much more. What else?
It's also a critical incubator for problem-solving skills. When building that blanket fort, they encounter structural challenges. Do the blankets need more support? How can they secure the sides? They're experimenting, failing, and trying again, all without a parent dictating the steps. This builds resilience and a problem-solving mindset that serves them throughout life.
So, they're learning to adapt and overcome, all through play. It's not just about having fun, it's about building practical life skills.
Precisely. And let's not forget social and emotional development. Even when playing alone, children are processing their emotions, rehearsing social interactions through pretend play, and learning self-regulation. If they're playing with siblings or peers, it's a natural laboratory for negotiation, sharing, conflict resolution, and cooperation. They learn to read cues, to compromise, and to understand different perspectives.
It's like a miniature society being built right there in the living room or the backyard. And I imagine it also helps them develop a stronger sense of self.
You're absolutely right, Lisa. Unstructured play allows children to explore their interests and discover what they're passionate about independently. This fosters self-discovery, builds confidence, and helps them develop a sense of agency, the feeling that they can influence their world. When they achieve something they set out to do on their own, the confidence boost is immense.
And this is where essentialism really comes into play, isn't it? It's about intentionally not overscheduling them, about trusting that they have an innate drive to explore and learn through play.
Exactly. As essentialist parents, we're learning to get out of the way. We're realizing that our constant need to structure, direct, and entertain can sometimes stifle the very creativity and independence we want to foster. Sometimes the most essential parenting act is to allow boredom.
Boredom. That feels like a terrifying word to many parents. We feel responsible for keeping them constantly engaged.
It can be, but boredom is the fertile ground for creativity. When children are bored, their minds don't just shut down, they start to churn. They begin to seek out their own stimulation, to invent their own games, to look at their surroundings with fresh eyes. Think about it. Have you ever had a brilliant idea pop into your head when you were just doing something mundane like washing dishes or going for a walk? That's often the mind working on subconscious problems or generating new thoughts when it's not being bombarded by external input.
That makes so much sense. It's the space where their inner voice gets a chance to speak up. So, how do we intentionally create this space for unstructured play in our busy lives without it becoming a source of stress?
It's about making conscious choices. First, examine your child's schedule. Are there too many scheduled activities? Could one be swapped for free playtime? It's about identifying the essentials and letting go of the non-essentials. Perhaps instead of that extra sport practice, they have an afternoon dedicated to just being at home with access to open-ended toys and materials.
So, it's about a shift in priority, recognizing that unstructured play is a non-negotiable, essential part of development, not just a luxury.
Precisely. And we can also set the stage. Provide open-ended toys, blocks, art supplies, natural materials like sticks and stones, dress-up clothes. These tools don't dictate an outcome. They invite exploration. And then we wait. We resist the urge to jump in with suggestions or to help them play.
That's the hardest part, I think. Watching them struggle a little or not immediately grasp an idea.
It really is. But trust your child. They have an innate capacity for play and discovery. Our role is to provide the safe environment and the basic resources, and then to observe and appreciate the incredible things they come up with on their own. And it doesn't have to be elaborate. Even 30 minutes of truly free, child-led play each day can make a significant difference.
So, we're not talking about scheduling playtime with activities planned. We're talking about creating an environment and a block of time where they are free to choose their own adventure.
Exactly. It's the difference between a guided tour and an open road. And remember how we talked about routines in the last episode? Unstructured play can actually be facilitated by some of those routines. For example, a consistent bedtime routine can free up the evenings from the pressure of managing bedtime and allow for more relaxed free play earlier on. Or, a predictable mealtime structure can allow for more spontaneous play in between.
That's a fantastic connection back to our previous episode. So, unstructured play isn't the enemy of routine. It can actually be a beneficiary of well-placed, essential routines. It's about creating balance, recognizing when structure is needed and when freedom is essential.
Indeed, embracing unstructured play is a powerful act of essentialism for parents. It requires us to let go of control, trust our children's innate abilities, and understand that sometimes doing less as a parent allows our children to do so much more for themselves. It's about fostering that internal drive for learning, creativity, and problem solving.
It really is about trusting the process and the child. So, to recap, unstructured play is crucial for creativity, problem solving, social emotional development, and self discovery. And as essentialist parents, we can encourage it by reducing overscheduling, providing open ended materials, and most importantly, by stepping back and allowing our children the space to be bored, to imagine, and to lead their own play.
You've hit the nail on the head, Lisa. This deliberate act of allowing our children to explore freely is a cornerstone of raising independent, resourceful, and creative individuals. It's a powerful way to simplify our parenting while enriching our children's lives.
And it certainly hints at how we can simplify our busy schedules by embracing this less is more approach to childhood enrichment.
Next episode, simplifying the schedule. Less is more.
Thanks for listening.
Welcome back. Last time we explored unstructured play. Now, let's tackle simplifying schedules.
The family schedule is a huge source of stress, Alex. School, activities, appointments, trying to find family time. It feels like we're always on the go.
That feeling of being overwhelmed signals we've strayed from essentialism. Remember, it's about choosing what's important and eliminating the rest. Our family schedule needs that intentional focus.
So, it's not about squeezing more in, but choosing what truly matters and letting go. That sounds freeing, but how do we even begin auditing our packed schedules?
Start with an audit. For a week, track every activity, commitment, and even travel or waiting time. Just gather honest data, no judgment.
A week of tracking sounds like discipline, but I can see how seeing it all written down would be eye-opening. What's next after we have the data?
Apply the Essentialist filter. For each activity, ask, does this align with our core family values? Does it contribute to my child's development or our family's connection? Is this something we want or feel pressured into?
That brings us back to defining our why from episode 2. If family connection is key, but our schedule is packed with individual activities, something needs to change.
Exactly. Look for redundancies too. Two similar sports? Multiple unnecessary meetings? This is where saying no becomes vital. Saying no to continuing commitments that don't serve you is crucial.
It's about protecting our time and energy. Saying yes to the non-essential means saying no to something that might be truly important, like saying no to an extra practice causing stress or an obligation that drains you.
And we must filter our children's schedules. Overscheduling them with the belief that more activities equal more success often leads to burnout for them too. They need downtime to simply be.
That links perfectly to our unstructured play episode. If every moment is filled, there's no space for spontaneous exploration or boredom, which sparks creativity. So, after cutting back, what's next for simplifying?
Deliberately create breathing room. Don't fill the new space with more activities. Schedule in downtime. A screen-free evening, a quiet weekend, or an afternoon for reading and relaxing.
So, we're not just decluttering commitments, but intentionally scheduling peace. That sounds wonderful, a schedule allowing rest and connection, not just constant motion.
Picture your schedule as a stuffed filing cabinet. Essentialism means emptying it, discarding unnecessary files, and organizing the truly important ones. Leave some drawers empty.
That's a great analogy, Alex. It echoes episode 4's quality over quantity. We focus on doing a few truly important things exceptionally well.
Yes, simplifying schedules reduces stress for everyone and reclaims our time and energy. This allows more capacity for meaningful moments, conversations, laughter, and shared experiences that build family bonds.
And that reclaimed energy supports our own well-being, a topic we'll cover soon. It's a virtuous cycle. Less on the schedule means less stress, more connection, and more personal capacity.
It requires courage to push back against the default busyness. But the rewards, a calmer home, a more connected family, and more present parents, are immense. Your action step, start that schedule audit this week. Just observe.
That's a perfect starting point. Just observe, and then we can begin the simplification process. It's a journey.
It is, and it will improve your family life. To recap, audit your commitments, filter them by your values, bravely say no, and cut the unnecessary, then intentionally protect time for rest and connection.
So, We've decluttered our time and made space for what matters. Next, we're ready to tackle another huge area, our digital world.
That's right. Next episode, we'll dive into digital boundaries and reclaiming our family's attention. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to Essentialism for Parents. Last time we covered simplifying your family schedule. Now let's tackle digital boundaries.
Ah, yes, the great screen time debate. It feels like a constant challenge, doesn't it?
Exactly, Lisa. Establishing essential boundaries around technology is crucial for reclaiming our family's attention and fostering genuine connection. We'll discuss the impact of screen time on family connection, focus, and well-being, sharing practical advice for creating healthy digital habits and setting limits.
And the exciting part is, this isn't about banning all devices. It's about using technology intentionally, which is the heart of essentialism, right?
Precisely. When technology takes center stage, genuine connection is often lost. Think about families absorbed in their own screens. The potential for conversation is lost.
It creates an invisible barrier. Even if you're physically together, you're not truly connecting. Parents can also disengage from their family by using phones to cope with stress.
And this disengagement impacts focus. Our brains aren't wired for constant switching between deep focus and quick digital stimuli. This makes it harder for us, and especially our children, to concentrate.
So, we're training our brains for distraction. And how does excessive screen time affect our family's well-being?
It impacts sleep quality and physical health, as well as emotional regulation and mental health. Studies show a correlation between excessive screen time and poorer sleep due to blue light. This affects mood, energy, and stress coping.
And for kids, it can lead to increased irritability and anxiety. It's a cycle. Poor sleep leads to irritability, which leads to more screen time, further disrupting sleep.
Understanding these impacts is the first step. Now, how do we establish those essential digital boundaries? The essentialist approach is to ask, what technology use is truly serving our family's core values and goals?
That's a great framing. It's about evaluating and prioritizing. So, what are some practical ways to start creating these boundaries?
Let's break down some actionable strategies. First, define your family's tech values. Just like general family values, define what you want technology to do for you: learning, connecting with relatives, or entertainment. Assess if your current tech habits align.
So, it's about clarifying the purpose. Is this app helping us achieve our family goals, or is it just filling time?
Precisely. Next, create tech-free zones and times. Consider making bedrooms tech-free zones, especially overnight, to improve sleep. Designate tech-free times like during meals or for an hour before bedtime. Think of meal times as sacred connection times.
I love that. Meal times are such a great opportunity for conversation. Making them tech-free automatically creates space for that connection.
Absolutely. Another key strategy is set clear time limits and stick to them. Use device features or apps to monitor and limit screen time. Consistency is key.
This is where the essentialist mindset really comes in. It's about diligently protecting your time and attention.
Exactly. And that leads us to establish clear expectations and consequences. Communicate these expectations clearly, explaining the why behind the rules. For instance, we're limiting screen time because we want plenty of time for playing outside, reading, and talking. Have predetermined, logical consequences when rules are broken.
This is so important for children. They need that structure and predictability. And it's also about modeling that behavior ourselves, isn't it?
You've hit on a crucial point. Lisa, lead by example. Our children observe our behavior. If we want them to have a healthy relationship with technology, we need to demonstrate that ourselves. Put down phones during conversations, be present during family activities, and take tech breaks.
It's a difficult habit to break, but seeing it as a way to teach our children valuable life skills makes it more achievable. And what about specific types of technology use?
For social media, consider age appropriateness and the potential for comparison and cyberbullying. For gaming, it can be fun but also addictive. For both, setting clear boundaries around time, content, and privacy is essential. The key is open communication. Talk to your kids about what they're seeing and experiencing online.
So it's about creating an open dialogue, not just unilateral rules. And this process will evolve as our children grow.
Absolutely. What works for a 5-year-old will be different for a 15-year-old. Revisit these boundaries regularly and have ongoing conversations. It's about fostering digital literacy and responsibility, not just imposing restrictions. And remember, essentialism is about making deliberate choices to focus on what truly matters. By establishing these digital boundaries, we are intentionally creating more space for connection, focus, and well-being.
This episode really brings home how technology can either be a fantastic tool or a massive drain on our family's time and energy. By being intentional and setting clear boundaries, we can ensure it's working for us. We've talked about defining tech values, creating tech-free zones and times, setting clear time limits, establishing expectations and consequences, and leading by example. These are all powerful tools for reclaiming our family's attention.
And as we look ahead, this clarity around digital usage will directly contribute to tackling another common parenting challenge: guilt. When we're intentional about our time, we reduce the opportunities for guilt to creep in.
That's a fantastic connection to make. Creating these boundaries helps us feel more in control and more focused on what truly nourishes our families.
Exactly. And that's what essentialism for parents is all about. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. Next episode, we'll be diving into tackling parenting guilt head on.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Last time we tackled digital boundaries. Now let's address parenting guilt.
Oh, parenting guilt. It's such a pervasive feeling, Alex. It feels like a constant companion, doesn't it? We might feel guilty for not spending enough time with our kids, for working too much, for losing our patience, or even for signing them up for too many activities, or conversely, not enough. It's truly exhausting.
Exactly, Lisa. And a significant portion of this guilt arises from the opposite of essentialism. It's the immense pressure to be a hyper-vigilant, hyper-capable parent who does everything for everyone. We internalize this notion that we must provide every single opportunity, create every perfect experience, and be a perfectly patient, always present superhero. When we inevitably fall short of this impossible standard, guilt tends to creep in.
It's like trying to keep a dozen fragile glass balls in the air and then feeling terrible when one inevitably drops. So, how does essentialism help us release some of those balls, or more importantly, realize we don't even need to be juggling them?
The fundamental principle here is recognizing that our energy, our time, and our attention are all finite resources. Essentialism teaches us to be exceptionally discerning about where we choose to invest these precious resources. When it comes to parenting guilt, essentialism offers a framework for identifying what truly holds importance for us, our core family values, and letting go of the rest. It's about transitioning from attempting to do everything with supposed perfection to focusing on doing the right things exceptionally well.
So, instead of thinking, I absolutely must give my child access to every available enrichment activity, we consciously reframe it to something like, our family values imaginative play and strong connection, so we will prioritize these and gently decline other opportunities. Is that the core idea?
Precisely. It boils down to intentionality. Guilt often emerges from a place of reaction rather than from a place of intention. We react to external pressures from schools, from other parents, from societal expectations, and then feel guilty when we can't meet them all. Essentialism encourages us to pause, identify our highest priorities derived from our core values, and then allow those priorities to be the compass guiding our decisions. When you make a decision based on what genuinely serves your family's core, the guilt associated with saying no to other things naturally begins to fade.
That makes so much intuitive sense. It's truly about aligning our actions with our deepest beliefs regarding what is most important for our children and our family unit, rather than just striving to measure up to some external scorecard.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest guilt-inducing myths we need to actively dismantle is the notion that more is always better. More activities, more experiences, more structured learning time. Essentialism serves as the potent antidote to that harmful idea. Remember our discussion in episode 7, Simplifying the Schedule, where we talked about trade-offs? Every single time you say yes to something, you are inherently saying no to something else. Essentialism empowers us to make those no's consciously based on our established priorities, rather than unconsciously through sheer overcommitment, and then subsequently feeling guilty about the things we're neglecting.
And I think guilt also infiltrates our thoughts when we focus too heavily on what we lack, rather than appreciating what we already have. We often observe other families who seem to have everything perfectly in order, and then feel inadequate in comparison. Essentialism effectively shifts our focus inward, towards what is genuinely essential for our specific family.
That's a brilliant observation, Lisa. It's about defining success on your own unique terms, not based on comparison with others. Consider the immense pressure to be the perfect parent. What does that even truly mean? Is it the parent who meticulously bakes elaborate organic snacks every single day? Or is it the parent who cultivates a strong, loving connection with their child, who listens with genuine attentiveness, and who models resilience and intentionality? Essentialism strongly advocates for the latter. Our guilt often stems from pursuing a vague, externally defined ideal rather than nurturing what is deeply good and meaningful within our own family.
So, it becomes crucial for us to proactively identify our essential parenting activities and then defend them fiercely. Wouldn't you agree?
Exactly. Those essential activities could include reading together before bed, having a dedicated, device-free family mealtime, or even just ensuring 15 minutes of uninterrupted conversation each day. These are what we call the high-leverage activities. When you find yourself experiencing guilt, it's helpful to ask yourself, am I dedicating enough energy to the activities that truly build connection and genuinely align with our core values? Or am I spread too thin, trying to meet superficial, external expectations? This simple reframing can powerfully help you identify where your precious energy is most effectively spent.
And it's perfectly okay not to be perfect. It's acceptable to have messy moments, to experience setbacks, and to rely on takeout food on busy nights. These are not failures as parents, they are simply integral parts of the human experience of life. Essentialism helps us view these imperfect moments not as evidence of our failure as parents, but rather as valuable opportunities to model grace and resilience for our children.
Absolutely. Our goal isn't to achieve a flawless performance. It's to cultivate a life that is well lived and a family connection that is deeply nurtured. Guilt frequently arises from an unrealistic expectation of achieving perfection. Essentialism liberates us from that burden by emphasizing progress, not perfection, and focusing on impact rather than mere busyness. It's fundamentally about making meaningful choices, not just more choices.
So, to summarize for our listeners, parenting guilt often stems from the attempt to meet too many perceived expectations and the feeling that we are not doing enough. Essentialism offers a transformative approach by first, helping us identify our core family values. Second, reinforcing the understanding that our time and energy are finite resources, prompting us to make conscious, deliberate choices about where to invest them. Third, prioritizing those high-leverage activities that deeply nurture connection and align perfectly with those identified values. And fourth, enabling us to redefine success on our own unique terms, shifting our focus from superficial perfection to meaningful, lasting impact.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. By wholeheartedly embracing essentialism, we can shed the heavy cloak of guilt and parent with considerably more intention, profound clarity, and ultimately, greater joy. It's about doing less parenting, but ensuring that every single moment truly counts.
It's truly a liberating concept. And that clarity we are actively building through essentialism will prove absolutely crucial as we learn to navigate those inevitable, unexpected moments life throws our way.
It certainly will. Speaking of navigating the unexpected, that's precisely what we'll be exploring in our next episode, Episode 10, Essentialism in Action, Navigating the Unexpected.
Join us, then, as we delve into how applying essentialist principles can profoundly help us remain grounded and intentional, even when life presents us with unexpected curveballs and challenges.
Welcome back to Essentialism for Parents, Episode 10. Last time, we explored tackling parenting guilt by focusing on what truly matters. Today, we're diving into how essentialism helps us navigate life's curveballs.
Absolutely, Alex. Life with kids is rarely predictable, and it feels like just when you think you have things figured out, a new adventure begins. And these adventures are often sudden detours, from illnesses to unexpected school events or memorable meltdowns.
Exactly. And this is where essentialism truly shines. Remember defining our core family values? That's our bedrock. When the unexpected happens, our values act as our compass. Instead of feeling derailed, we ask, what's the most important thing right now aligned with our values?
So, it's about having that strong foundation to return to, even when the ground feels shaky. It's not about planning for every single possibility, but having principles to guide us when our perfect plan goes out the window.
Precisely. Imagine you're sailing. Your destination is your core value, and your route is your well thought out routine. But then a storm hits. You can't stick to your original route, but still know your destination. You adjust your sails to move towards your goal, even if the path is different.
That's a great analogy, Alex. So, when illness strikes and planned activities are impossible, instead of panicking, we can focus on the value of care and well-being. The essential action becomes tending to our sick child and ourselves, not necessarily sticking to the scheduled enrichment activity.
Yes. Or consider an unexpected work deadline that lands on a day you'd planned a special family outing. Your core value might be family connection. The essentialist response isn't to abandon the deadline or the outing, but to find a way to honor both. Perhaps a quick, focused family dinner that night, or explaining to your child that this deadline is temporary and you'll reschedule something even better. It's about consciously choosing where to invest your limited energy.
And that ties back beautifully to our discussion on the power of no. When unexpected demands arise, our ability to say no to non-essential requests becomes even more critical. We have to protect our time and energy for what truly matters.
Absolutely. It's not about being rigid. It's about being resilient. Essentialism is a mindset that fosters adaptability. When we're not constantly trying to keep up with every single demand, we free up mental space to deal with the unexpected calmly. We're less likely to react with overwhelm and more likely to respond with intention.
So, instead of our children's unexpected needs or our own challenges sending us into a spiral of stress, an essentialist approach helps us see them as just part of life. And we have the tools, our values, our focus on the essential to manage them.
Exactly. And as we move towards the end of our series, we're seeing how these practices have a cumulative effect. When you consistently focus on what's essential, practice saying no to the non-essential, and have clear values guiding you, you build a different kind of family life. It's not just about fewer activities, it's about a foundational shift in how you experience family.
It's like building real emotional and practical resilience. When things go wrong, and they will, you have this inner strength and a clear framework. It allows for a much calmer, more centered response. Instead of chaos, there's a steady, essential flow.
A steady, essential flow. I like that. So, to recap this episode, when the unexpected happens, lean on your core family values as your guide. Use your established routines and prioritize tasks as a flexible framework, not a rigid cage. Protect your energy by continuing to say no to the non-essential, even when faced with urgent seeming demands. And remember, essentialism isn't about eliminating all challenges, but about developing the capacity to navigate them with grace and intention.
That makes so much sense, Alex. It's about being prepared not by predicting every problem, but by building a strong inner and outer structure that can withstand the inevitable storms.
Indeed. And in our next episode, we'll explore the ripple effect of essentialism. How embracing these principles not only transforms your parenting, but also profoundly impacts your own well-being.
I'm really looking forward to that. Next episode, the ripple effect, essentialism, and your own well-being. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for listening. Welcome back. Today, we explore the ripple effect of essentialism on your well-being.
That's right, Alex. For the past 10 episodes, we've focused heavily on how to apply essentialist principles to our family lives. But it's easy to forget that when we make things better for our kids and our family dynamic, it almost always circles back to benefit us as individuals.
Exactly. Think about it. When you're constantly bombarded with demands, feeling overwhelmed, and stretched too thin, who suffers? Not just your kids, who might be getting a frazzled, less present parent, but you too. You're exhausted, stressed, and probably not enjoying life very much.
It's the classic definition of an unsustainable pace. And what we've been talking about with essentialism is creating a sustainable, more intentional way of living. So, today we're going to explore how intentionally choosing what's essential in your parenting actually frees up time and energy for your own life. We'll talk about reclaiming personal interests, prioritizing self-care, and why this isn't selfish. It's actually vital for being a better parent.
Let's start by revisiting a core idea we touched on early in the series, defining your why, your core family values. Remember how crucial that was for guiding your decisions? Well, that same principle applies to your personal life. What are your individual values? What truly matters to you outside of your parenting role?
That's such a good point. I think many parents, myself included, can fall into the trap of letting their entire identity become about being a parent. And while it's a huge part of who we are, it's not the only part. So, when you're trying to decide how to spend those precious pockets of free time that essentialism helps create, asking yourself, what aligns with my values, is key.
Precisely. So, if your personal value is, say, creativity, and you've been spending less time painting or writing because you've been overcommit with your kids' activities, essentialism can help you carve out that time again. You'd look at your family schedule and ask, which of these commitments are truly essential for our core values and well-being, and which should be streamlined or even eliminated to make space for my creative pursuits?
And that leads directly into self-care. For so long, self-care sounded like a luxury, something you'd do after everything else was done. But essentialism reframes it. It's not a reward. It's a necessity for high performance, even in parenting. If you're running on empty, you can't effectively give your best.
Think of your energy like a battery. If you're constantly draining it with non-essential tasks and obligations, it never gets a chance to recharge. By eliminating the non-essential activities in your family and personal life, you're essentially creating more time to plug in that battery. This could be anything from getting enough sleep, eating nourishing food, exercising, or simply having quiet time to yourself.
I remember when we discussed simplifying the schedule in episode 7. That's exactly where this links back. By saying no to the extra soccer practices we didn't really need, or the PTA committee that wasn't aligned with our core values, we freed up evenings. Instead of automatically filling that void with more chores or mindless scrolling, we could have intentionally chosen to read a book, go for a walk, or just sit in quiet.
And it's not just about having more free time. It's about how we perceive that time. When you're living an essentialist life, you feel more in control. You're making conscious choices rather than reacting to a never-ending stream of demands. This sense of agency is incredibly powerful for reducing stress and improving overall mental well-being.
That's right. It shifts the feeling from I have to do all these things to I choose to do these essential things for my family and I choose to make time for myself. It's a fundamental change in perspective that can be incredibly liberating. And this liberation can extend into professional pursuits too. Many parents feel they have to put their careers on hold indefinitely. But with an essentialist approach, you can identify essential professional goals and find ways to integrate them more thoughtfully, rather than feeling like you're sacrificing your entire adult identity forever.
Absolutely. And we often talk about unstructured play for kids. Well, unstructured time is just as important. It's about allowing yourself moments of spontaneity and rejuvenation without a strict agenda. It could be listening to a podcast you enjoy, exploring a new hobby, or simply spending quality time with your partner or friends, engaging in activities that truly nourish you.
So, to recap this part, Alex, essentialism in parenting isn't just about optimizing for the kids. It's about creating a more balanced, sustainable life for the entire family unit, and that includes the parents. By clarifying your personal values, prioritizing self-care as a necessity, simplifying your commitments to create breathing room, and reclaiming your sense of agency, you are directly investing in your own well-being. This proactive approach helps prevent burnout and allows you to be a more present, joyful, and effective parent.
It's a symbiotic relationship, isn't it? A well-cared for, less stressed parent creates a more peaceful, stable environment for the children, which in turn can lead to happier, more independent children. And when you see your children thriving because you've managed to find that balance, it reinforces the value of your essentialist choices.
It really does. It's a virtuous cycle. And I think for many listeners who have been diligently applying essentialism to their families, this episode serves as a reminder to turn that same intentional lens onto their own lives. Don't compartmentalize your well-being. Let it bleed into every area.
So what does this mean in practice? It means when you find yourself with an unexpected hour of free time, don't automatically default to chores or catching up on emails. Pause. Ask yourself, what would truly recharge me right now? What activity aligns with my personal values and brings me joy? It might be a 5-minute meditation, a quick call with a friend, or 5 minutes of just staring out the window. Every little bit counts.
And it also means being protective of your downtime and your personal pursuits. Just as you learn to say no to non-essential activities for your kids, learn to say no to demands outside of your essential personal time. This could be social obligations that don't energize you, or requests that pull you away from your own rejuvenation.
This focus on your well-being isn't a side project. It is an essential component of being an effective parent. When you are thriving, your family thrives. It's about recognizing that your own energy, your own joy, and your own peace of mind are critical resources. By applying essentialism to your personal life, you're not being selfish. You're being a responsible steward of your own well-being, which ultimately benefits everyone around you.
We're nearing the end of our series, and it feels like we've come full circle. We started by defining what's essential for the family, and now we're seeing how applying those principles creates a more essential, fulfilling life for parents too. It truly is a holistic approach.
It absolutely is. And as we gear up for a final episode, where we'll tie everything together into a practical roadmap for living the essentialist family life, I want everyone to reflect on this ripple effect. How can you actively, intentionally weave in more you time, more personal fulfillment into your already simplified life? What's one small step you can take this week to prioritize your own well-being?
Excellent question, Alex. And it's a perfect thought to hold on to as we move towards our conclusion.
Next episode, Living the Essentialist Family Life, a practical roadmap. Welcome to the final episode of our series on essentialist parenting.
It's been an incredible journey, Alex, exploring how to do less parenting and achieve better results.
Absolutely. Today, we're weaving all those threads together into a practical roadmap for living an essentialist family life long after this series concludes. It's about making conscious, value-driven choices every day.
So, how do we keep this momentum going? How do we make essentialism a lasting habit rather than just a temporary fix?
The foundation, Lisa, is continual reflection. Remember in episode 2, we talked about defining your why, your core family values? That's not a static concept. We need to revisit it.
Meaning, we check in regularly to see if our actions still match our values?
Precisely. I suggest a quarterly review. Ask yourselves, are our current commitments truly aligned with what we believe is most important for our family? Or have we slipped back into old habits or taken on obligations out of obligation rather than intention? Regular reflection keeps us on track.
That proactive self-assessment sounds crucial for preventing drift. What's the next step after that reflection?
That naturally leads to intentional prioritization and the power of no. When reflection reveals a mismatch, we must actively choose to declutter. This might mean adjusting a child's schedule or saying no to an invitation. Episode 3 focused on this skill, and in our ongoing roadmap, it becomes a consistent practice.
So, no becomes a tool not just for reducing overwhelm, but for actively creating space for what truly matters.
Exactly. Saying no to the less essential is a powerful yes to the most important. This decluttering then allows us to focus on intentional connection. Episode 4 highlighted the importance of quality over quantity in family time, and this remains paramount.
Actively creating those moments, whether it's a family dinner or a board game, becomes a priority.
Yes, and to support these connections, we need to embrace essential routines. As we discussed in episode 5, routines provide structure without rigidity. A calm morning routine or a predictable bedtime routine can significantly reduce stress and free up mental energy for genuine connection.
It's about creating anchors in our day that make life smoother, not more complicated.
Indeed, and within that structure, we must continue to protect unstructured play. Episode 6 celebrated the creativity and problem-solving skills that blossom when children have free time to explore their own interests.
Giving children that freedom to simply be, to invent and imagine without adult direction, is so vital.
It is, and this philosophy extends to simplifying the overall schedule. Episode 7's message, less is more, is a constant reminder to question every commitment. Our ongoing roadmap involves regularly auditing our family schedule to ensure it reflects our priorities.
It's like tending a garden, constantly weeding out the non-essentials to allow the important plants to thrive.
A perfect analogy. And as technology becomes more integrated into our lives, maintaining digital boundaries remains critical. Episode 8 provided strategies for this, and it requires ongoing vigilance. We must be mindful of how screens impact our family's attention and connection.
That's an area where constant attention is definitely needed, as technology is designed to capture our focus.
It is, Which brings us to one of the most freeing aspects, tackling parenting guilt. Episode 9 was a revelation for many, showing that guilt often stems from trying too hard to be everything to everyone.
When we embrace essentialism, we let go of those impossible expectations and reduce the sources of guilt.
Correct. Our roadmap involves recognizing guilt as a signal and returning to our core values. This also helps us in navigating the unexpected. Life throws curveballs. Episode 10 showed us that essentialism builds resilience, allowing us to handle disruptions without derailing our core priorities.
So, we build flexibility into our essential framework, allowing us to adapt when challenges arise.
Exactly. And finally, remember the ripple effect from episode 11. This journey profoundly impacts your own well-being. By reducing overwhelm and focusing on what truly matters, you create space for self-care, rejuvenation, and personal growth.
It's a holistic approach. Prioritizing our family's well-being naturally includes prioritizing our own.
So, to recap our practical roadmap for living the essentialist family life. First, commit to continual reflection on your core values. Second, actively practice intentional prioritization and saying no. Third, nurture intentional connection through quality time. Fourth, embrace essential routines for structure and ease. Fifth, protect unstructured play for creativity and development. Sixth, simplify your schedule by decluttering commitments. Seventh, maintain digital boundaries to guard your family's attention. Eighth, release parenting guilt by trusting your purposeful choices. Ninth, build resilience for the unexpected with flexibility. And 10th, prioritize your own well-being as a cornerstone of family health.
That's a comprehensive and empowering summary, Alex. It truly encapsulates how to integrate essentialism into the fabric of our daily family lives. It's about continuous intention and progress, not perfection.
Precisely. This is a living philosophy. There will be days that challenge these principles, but by returning to your why and these core practices, you can navigate parenthood with more purpose, peace, and joy. You can truly do less parenting and do it better.
Thank you, Alex, for this insightful series. It's been incredibly valuable.
And thank you, listeners, for joining us on this journey towards a more intentional and fulfilling family life. Thanks for listening to the series.